Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle and I'm currently narrating a story of my life dating back from January 2016. In a previous episode, I talked about the month of March and basically how I was getting myself situated when it came to packing my stuff out of Hidden Valley, just thinking about transitioning into the promised land. And I did mention that I went on a 3-day fast with the Match Made in Heaven community. So I am going to talk about that in this episode. I'm also going to talk about my conversation with Esther when I asked her if I could stay with her. But before I talk about all those things, there was a dream that I had in the month of March that I forgot to mention, and I think it's best I talk about it right now. So here it goes. In the month of March, I had a dream, I want to say it was probably the first or second week of March. But in the dream, I remember being at a restaurant. It was me and a whole bunch of other women. We were at this restaurant on this table, and the purpose of us being there was to celebrate a woman. Now, this woman in real life, she's a celebrity. She's a celebrity who the Lord has revealed to me is into witchcraft, okay? So this particular celebrity, she's into witchcraft in real life. So in the dream, me and a bunch of women were at this restaurant on this dining table to celebrate this celebrity. So the focus of the dinner celebration was for this celebrity. I remember being at the table and passing like salad bowls, passing bread and all of that. And I was eating in the dream. Me and all these other women, we were eating. And the celebrity woman, she was there. That was basically the dream. So I woke up, and I remember when I woke up, I'm like, why am I having a dream that I'm eating? Why am I having a dream I'm eating amongst this, woman who I know in real life is a witch? Like, why am I doing that? So I remember rebuking the dream, just praying against the dream. Now, in the month of March, I didn't get any revelation about that dream until later on. Later on down the line, I did get a revelation of what that dream meant. But I think it's important for me to talk about it now, okay? So now I'm going to talk about the 3-day fast and then get into the conversation I had with Esther. So the Match Made in Heaven fast was for 3 days, March 29, the 30th, and the 31st. The instructions for the fast was at 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. you could only take water. Then 6 p.m. to 5:59 a.m. you can only take fruits and vegetables. Also, Andrea told us that we should try to avoid social media as much as possible, and we would be on a prayer call every day for the fast at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So day 1 of the fast at 12 p.m., we were on the prayer call, and Andrea talked about the issues of the heart. She said that we should write down 3 things we're believing God to do during the fast. I wrote down my 3 things on my planner. So she was talking about the issues of the heart, and some of us on the prayer line, she talked about how some of us were harboring anger, frustration, and resentment towards our prodigal, and it was serving as a hindrance during our stance. So we prayed on that and asked God for healing. But what really got to me was the last prayer on the prayer call. Andrea said, some of you are mad at God because of what your prodigal took you through and all the things you endured during the stance. So we're going to open up our hearts to the Father. I cried to God and said, Lord, I'm mad at you for allowing me to go through all that I've gone through for a long period of time. I'm hurt and all of that. Andrea finished the prayer and I was still crying. Before the prayer call ended, Andrea told us to pay attention and write down your dreams. She also said, don't eat in your dreams because the devil will use that to put you right back into a demonic covenant after breaking all these curses during the fast. So she told us that you want to make sure that you ask God to make you aware of what's going on in your dreams, and you want to pray that you don't eat in your dreams. And you want to make sure you wake up before the enemy tries to attack you. So the call ended and I was just laying in bed. Now, I do want to mention something that I thought was off about the prayer call and also the fast as well. I remember when Andrea announced that we were going to go on a 3-day Match Made in Heaven fast, my initial thought was that, man, why do I have a feeling that she's copying Prophet Princess? That was my immediate thought. But then I'm like, that's kind of silly because, like, anybody can fast. Like, Prophet Princess did not create fasting. Like, anybody can fast. Anybody can go on a fast. So I kind of put that thought far away in my head. But like I said, y'all, it was the initial thought I had in my head. Like, why do I have a feeling that she's copying Prophet Princess? And I know, I knew at that time that she did tune into Prophet Princess on the internet. Now, what I thought was interesting on the prayer call was that during the prayer call, she said that some of you, you're harboring anger, resentment. She did that, but then she said some of you have spirits on you or something like that. And those spirits need to be cast out. So every spirit of rejection, come out. Spirit of rejection, come out. Spirit of anger, come out. And people were crying on the prayer line. So I remember just saying to myself, like, Lord, if there's any spirit inside of me, let it come out. It got to a point where I'm like, wait, how come nothing's coming out? How come nothing is coming out? I'm like, am I supposed to be gyrating at this point? Am I not supposed to be shaking? Like, then it got to a point, I'm like, what's going on? But on the prayer call, I'm hearing, let those spirits come out. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know about this. So, I stopped praying those prayers about spirits coming out. I just pray that, Lord, I pray you continue to be with me as I endure this process. I did my own prayer. But when she kept on saying that spirit of rejection, spirit of pride, spirit of abandonment, spirit of fear, let it come out. Something about that just didn't sit right with me, y'all. It just didn't. Now, later on, y'all, all of this is going to make sense. So the prayer call had ended, and probably 5 to 10 minutes later, y'all, I fell into a deep sleep. I slept the entire afternoon, and I had different dreams during my sleep. I definitely had 3 dreams, y'all, and I'm going to talk about these 3 dreams. So the first one, in the first dream, I was in a living room. It was me and Andrea. And in the living room, we were both seated on the couch. She was on YouTube Live, talking to the people in the Match Made in Heaven community, just telling them about, Match Made in Heaven, Prodigal, Counterfeit, all that, right? So she ends the live. As she ends the live, she closes her laptop and she curses, y'all. She said a curse word that rhymes with hit. Okay? She says a curse word, and I said, Andrea, no, you're not supposed to curse. And she's like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. And then she says to me, when you do something bad, who corrects you? And I said, oh, if I do something bad, the Holy Spirit corrects me. And then she says, you see, you're different. You're different. You're one of 3. And in the dream, I'm kind of like looking at her like, what does she mean I'm different? And plus, doesn't the Holy Spirit correct her too? She's a Christian. That was the end of the dream. I think I wake up and then I go back to sleep again, y'all. Go back to sleep, and I have a second dream. in the second dream, y'all, I'm at a wedding. I'm at a wedding, and there's a bunch of famous people at this wedding. I didn't know who was getting married, but they seemed like they were famous because a lot of famous people were at the wedding. Now, here's what was interesting. I didn't have my own personal seat at the wedding. I remember sitting at the steps of a building that was right next to where the wedding was happening. So there was a bunch of people who had their own seats. I was sitting at the staircase of the building that was right there. And a particular artist was singing Snow Allegra's Do for Love as the bride was walking down the aisle. And we were just all looking at the bride and just, being enamored and all that. And that was the end of the dream. So I think I'll wake up again. And then I fell back asleep. Honestly, y'all, it felt like I was on Dayquil. Like, I remember feeling so drowsy and so tired, and I couldn't understand why. But I was in a deep sleep. So I go back to sleep. I have another dream. And in this third dream, y'all, I'm at a whole different wedding. Now, in this dream, I'm at the reception of the wedding. I remember being at a place, kind of like at a lobby, and Tamar Braxton's The One is playing. It's me and a bunch of reality TV stars. They're all wearing black. And I see a reality TV executive. He's also there too. I remember sitting down there. It's like a lobby of where the function was happening. I remember just sitting down there and just thinking, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I don't know these people personally. I didn't even know who was getting married, y'all. And that was the end of the dream. So I remember waking up around 6 p.m. and I actually forced myself to get up because I was just so drowsy and I did nothing that entire day basically at that point. So I decided that I needed to get up and I needed to eat some vegetables. Now, I had planned to continue packing that day, y'all. I couldn't do nothing. I was just so drowsy. Like I said, it felt like I had taken Dayquil. But I remember just laying down on my couch and I was wondering, why am I having wedding dreams? I'm like, okay, maybe because of the whole Match Made in Heaven community fast. Probably this is God's way of letting me know that you're about to get married. We're going to revisit these dreams later on down the line, okay? So I'm going to stop the episode right here, y'all. Next episode, I'm going to talk about day 2 of the fast, day 3, and probably get into the conversation I had with Esther. So if you're liking A Likely Story, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please also share my videos as well. And until next time, y'all, bye.